Throughout my life, I've always sort of been hard of hearing, in a sense that I often ask people to repeat themselves. It's not that they are too quiet, it's just that sometimes I can't grasp what they are saying. Now, that may sound odd, but on a grander scale, this concept is something that happens every day to a lot of people. Sometimes, people even mishear spoken word as something else, and it usually can be both frustrating and funny. This concept was actually coined as a term called a Mondegreen by Sylvia Wright, since it was derived from someone misunderstanding the phrase laid him on the green as Lady Mondegreen. Phonetically, they are both pretty similar, and have experienced the same phenomena several times myself. All my life, I always misheard the song by the group Til Tuesday as This Is Scary, or even Mrs. Carey. Obviously, the song is called Voices Carry, but if you never looked it up, or knew who sang it, you really had no way to check. But music wasn't the only thing that this occurred in. And for me, games were way more prolific. Where to start? Well, since Nintendo 64 had quite a lot of them, we might as well tackle that first. Mario 64 probably had some of the most memorable mishearings that I can recall. But that's an issue in itself. Remembering them is the hard part, because they don't really stick out like sore thumbs when you try to comb through your thoughts. It pretty much means that you have to hear the phrase again to remember what was so odd about it. Anyways, back on the topic of Mario 64, the final fight with Bowser held probably one of the most recognized mishearings in any game. And that is when you're tossing around Bowser like a ragdoll.
So long, gay Bowser?
So long, gay Bowser? Or was that so long, King Bowser? So long, Bowser? Maybe? Well, the truth is, as a kid, I somehow heard so long, gay mountain. Don't ask me how, but I did. And honestly, I still can't understand what he is saying. The same goes for when you jump into a painting.
Let's go.
You have some people who hear, let's pickle, let's tickle, or even him just flat out saying, Mexico. Now, to my understanding, he is supposed to be saying, let's go. But it's pretty comical to see what other people believed he was saying when they were younger. Now, Mario 64, of course, is not the only case of this. There's the Jawas in Super Star Wars who sound like they're saying Houdini every time you shoot them. And then there's also Jill in Marvel vs. Capcom 2, who I always thought was saying that she had SARS, the disease. Like it was some kind of exclusive club.
I'm a member of STARS.
I hadn't played any Resident Evil games at this point, so I really had nothing to go off of, nor did I know anything about SARS except that it was a virus. On the topic of fighters though, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Tournament Fighters for the Super Nintendo had quite a lot of mishearings too.
Turtle combat!
Starting off, I always thought the menu said Turtle Wombat, or Total Wombat. On top of that, many players' attacks also just didn't make sense. I realized some may have still been in Japanese, but for example, when Leonardo would use his projectile attack, it sounds like he is saying Hyyyying tung, but I think it's supposed to be Shining Cutter. Chrome Dome's moves were really echoey too, and I never had any idea what they were saying, especially in combination with the background music.
Chrome Spark! Give out!
Overall though, there were just a lot of games that had plenty of Mondegreens for me when I was younger. With that said, I'm going to jump through a couple quickly to see if anyone else had similar experiences. Ready? Here we go! In Diddy Kong Racing, during the character selection, I always heard the mouse say, I'm tipsy, as if they were drunk. Drumsticks audio was beyond the scope of what my mind could handle, and I'll just leave it at that.
I'm drumstick!
In Star Fox 64, there was plenty of awkward dialogue, but I think most people got hung up on the following sound clip.
Gridlock.
Was that Gridlock, Report, or Good Luck? Anyone who has played Guilty Gear probably can't get over the fact that Kaikisuke just says coconut over and over again. I always laughed at this, even though I knew it was just a different language. In Mario Kart 64, I had one of my friends tell me that they often heard Peach saying bean dip, which is absolutely fantastic.
Bingo! Peachy!
Especially since she was supposed to be saying bingo. With the in-game sounds and music playing, I can see how this could happen. On a separate note, could Peach sound any more unenthused?
Let's go! Here we go!
I feel like she's going to fall asleep at the wheel. In Vigilante 8, I swear I pretty much misheard this entire game.
You ready to roll the dice, bro?
Ready to woom without a sprew? Something about a silver spoon? I have no idea. Then there's these two. Obviously, I can look up what they're saying now, but that ruins the fun. In Super Smash Bros. Melee, I swear that I hear Captain Falcon saying jerks when he does his up B recovery.
Yes!
My younger brother does as well, and this one is clearly baffling to me since everyone else clearly hears yes. And I really have no idea why either. But the thing is, all these examples in this video are only the tip of the iceberg. I honestly can't remember how many times I misheard things in games, because to me, the memory isn't odd and it doesn't stick out. It was just a normal experience and I simply kept on playing. Keep in mind that TV quality, video game background music, and general muffled sound was what made most of this happen. Obviously, if this sound was isolated and played back repeatedly over time, I may have figured it out. But because I didn't have that luxury, I just pressed on through whatever nonsense I thought I was hearing. Looking back at it now though, it still brings a smile to my face as I remember all those voice clips. I'm sure I'll remember more as time goes on too, but in the meantime, I'd love to hear your own stories about things you simply misheard in games. It's quite an interesting topic and typically leads to some pretty funny stories, so please share your thoughts in the comments below. I'm definitely looking forward to reading them. And with that, thanks for tuning in to our trip to the jumbled audio jungle. If you'd like to join us on our YouTube voyage and help us figure out what these characters were actually saying, then the subscribe button is just what you're looking for. Thanks for watching, guys and gals, and until our next video, cheers. You've made it to the end of the video, but wait, your quest isn't over yet. Perhaps you'd like to check out some Nintendo 64 mysteries that I spent a lot of time trying to solve as a kid. I also have a pretty neat series about levels in video games and why they were important to me. There's a slew of other videos on my channel too, so regardless, I hope you enjoy.